Lana, hi Jen. Hi Carol. Hi Yvette. Hi Popular. Hi Billy Joe. Hi Vicky. I'm doing good. Hope you guys are doing good too. Hi Janice. Hi Dana. I'm good. Hope you guys are good. Hi Nancy. Hi Marjorie. Hi Stan. Hi Nina. If anybody's new on my page, can you please like and subscribe so that when I'm live, you guys can find me again? I appreciate that. Thanks, Popular. I hope you do too. Caroline saying, Paul, can we learn more about angels? Someone told there are angels that are really Satan. Um, I know angels can pretend to be, can I mean demons can pretend to be evil, like to pretend to be angels. I know that. Not all angels are demonic, so that is not true. Whoever told you that? I'm sorry, Marjorie. That'd been the lady. That just that I'm sorry. My brain just went dead really quick. Sorry. The Supreme Court judge. She was really good. She helped a lot of people. They're a big humanitarian. Yes, everybody's got a guardian angel popular. Vicky, if you haven't dreamed of your dad, it's probably because you're still in mourning. It could be because some people had some kind of trauma happen to them when they were younger, and they keep a wallet, and that's just how they deal with it, things every day. So it's hard to say. But if you want him to come to your dreams, just ask him every night, and eventually he will. I'm not doing readings right now, Jen. I do those on Sundays. Marjorie, a spirit guide is somebody who used to live and then they died and they're in heaven. And then they're brought to us because of our likes and dislikes. So they're kind of like the same kind of personality we are, in jobs and stuff as well. We always have one, but we always have different ones. I mean, many that come and go. Caroline, what happened to Keith Bella motorcycle accident? I don't know who Keith Bella is. I don't know that story. So, Marjorie, spirit guides are not always family. It's rare that you do have a family member that's a spirit guide. They do come and help sometimes, but they're not spirit guides usually. Hi, Sport Girl One. Why are people born with severe disabilities? Um, I don't have the answers to everything of what God knows and God's ways, but I can tell you what I do know is there's people brought into His life for a reason, and sometimes that person's in our life even for a short time or even with a disability. But sometimes it's lessons for the living so that we can learn something in this life from them. Um, it's hard to say. I don't know God's ways, but you know, those people with disabilities I find are more stronger than a lot of people that can deal with minor setbacks in life. But I know one thing is that when they cross over, they don't have that disability anymore. So their time on Earth is short compared to where they're going after this life. And sometimes I wonder, without pain, we wouldn't be able. I mean, without pain and suffering, sometimes maybe we wouldn't understand what that means. That means what I mean by that is maybe we wouldn't understand empathy. Maybe we have to learn pain and suffering from others so we can learn to empathize and sympathize with people. Do we, Margie's asking, do we reincarnate if we have free will? I think we have a choice to reincarnate if we want to. But, sometimes God makes us, and eventually in his own time, brings us back down to get reincarnated to fill a path that we're supposed to fulfill, a learning lesson that we haven't fulfilled in the past life. But when we die, no matter what, we hang out, we're up in heaven for a certain amount of time with our families, and then when God decides, he takes your soul back down. Jenna says she's been highly intuitive. Does that mean she could strive to be more open? Um, sure. I mean, I don't have the answers for everything in the world. I know that's probably a stereotype that people think I do. But I'm always learning stuff too. I'm learning stuff from readings. I'm learning stuff from spirits, from people. Every reading I do is never the same. In fact, when I start seeing 111 or 1111, that means for me it's going to be something I'm going to be learning that day. So there's always learning when you're doing spiritual work. I could be learning and doing this kind of work and still learning when I'm 90, if I'm still alive by then. Sometimes life on earth does seem like hell, but we have that choice to make it better for other people. Though we can serve brothers and sisters and try to make it look better for them. There's a choice we can make as well. Jen saying, "Is there really a third eye?" Absolutely. Your third eye is like right here, and I've had this big old crease in my head. I think since I was in junior high, as far as I can remember. Who knows? Maybe that's probably why I can see stuff. But your third eye is like right through here. There have been scientific studies on that, and there's like a gland back there. They think that that might be part of what works with the third eye. Um, the third eye is what do they call? I'm trying to think here. It's a chakra, and it's just like a pinwheel. And all a chakra is basically it's a portal. And that's you got your chakras right here, up here, right here. You got them all the way down, and that's just a chakra. And to work with that, you need to meditate and try to keep it open, but don't keep it open. Some people can keep it open for a long time, and sometimes that's not always good because you might not want to see stuff that's out there. Lana's asking, are Ouija boards evil? You want my opinion, Lana? You never hear anything good about a Ouija board ever. I've never heard a Ouija board give anybody good advice. I've never heard a Ouija board um, help anybody. I think what the Ouija board is one of the snares of the devil. There was made by a toy company and they like to get those kids involved. I know, and what that does is open up portals. It gets spiritual attachments and causes bad luck in families and a lot of bad stuff. So I don't think they're good, in my opinion. I don't mess with them. Do soulmates exist? Absolutely. Hi, Margaret Villa. Um, Marjorie's asking, do soulmates exist? I would say yes. Every one of us runs into a soulmate in our lifetime. If you've been reincarnated, you'll probably keep running into that soulmate in each lifetime. I've had my soulmate in this lifetime already. That person died in a bad accident when I was in my early 30s or late 20s. So, yeah, you never know when your soulmate's going to come. It's never guaranteed that you're going to grow old with that person either. So, they can be here one day and then gone the next. Nina's saying, I've always have a dream that I'm trying to contact my husband and I can never dial his number. That's a question, Nina, I would have to do a reading on, and I'm not doing readings right now. But I would assume that was something in your subconscious. Maybe that's doing that. That's maybe it's telling you have a block that you got to work with. That's how I would look at it. Maybe there's something, happened to you in your younger years or something, some kind of trauma. But that's maybe something that's blocking you from contacting him when he wants to see you in dreams. That's Sports Girl saying I find it weird you can buy a Ouija board at Toys R Us, and that's interesting. Years ago, I was at, I think it was Toys R Us, or it was a toy store in the mall, and I didn't know what the Ouija boards were. I wasn't even looking in that, but I was in the area where the board games were, and I think I was with one of my friends, and I just stopped, and he goes, "What's wrong?" I go, "Something's not right here." And I was drawn to look down on the bottom of the shelf, and there was these Ouija boards all set up. And what I was drawn to, it was the energy from that one of those boards or those boards, and it was not good. I backed up and I walked out of there. I didn't want to deal with that. It was creepy. You're welcome, Nina. Margaret, they say if you don't have, I mean, they say you do connect with your soulmate once in your lifetime. Some people meet their soulmates in their 50s. Some meet them in their 80s. It's just that timing where it's meant to be. You'll know when you're with a soulmate because when you're dating other people, you kind of know what that feels like. But once you know that soulmate, you just know you've met that person from another time and you can't explain it. Like you just know everything about them, but you don't know how. And it's the best. It's like you fall in love so quick and it's so strong. It's nothing like dating other people. Hi, Alma from Kansas. Dan is asking how old was I when I first encountered a spirit, and I think I said this last week on this page, but it was so funny because I was driving my car the other day and I was thinking about that story because I know I told a story about when I saw that orb in the mountains when I was at my aunt's house going through the trees, and I thought that was like the first time I think I saw a spirit. But then I looked back on it. When I was a little boy, around 4 or 5, I fall asleep watching TV on the couch. And back then, this was like the 70s. And my mom had this black and white television that was in the living room. And I remember I just hated waking up alone in that house and not laying on that couch because there had been times where I would just space out or look at that TV, even though it was turned off. I would see I would see people standing there. I would see faces, two people talking to each other, or somebody was just staring at me. I remember one time I literally hand felt looked like it was coming out of that TV, and it scared the hell out of me. But I think that was one of the first times I think really that I remember seeing spirits. My mom told me something was always entertaining me when I was a little boy, but I've always had in my whole life I've had experiences. Hi, Leslie from Montana. Yeah, if Marjorie, if somebody gave me a satanic Bible, I wouldn't want it just because of what it's about. That's just my opinion. I stay away from the dark stuff. I don't even want to dabble or even read into it because once you start getting into it or reading into it, sometimes people get snared into it. It's like an addiction. But I'm not telling. Sorry, this connection's going off and on. It does this. I don't know why it does this on here. Yeah, Margaret, there's hope. I mean, everybody's going to get a spirit guide. I don't know when, but everybody eventually finds their spirit guide in this life. Now, twin flames, I believe, are two souls that are kind of welded together, or I mean, basically the same. If that makes sense. So you always see people who are twins with twin souls. I mean, even siblings can have twin souls. You might meet even another person in life with the twin souls, just like yours. It's a little bit different than the soulmate. Elma's asking would it be wise for her to watch videos on YouTube about spirit, about finding spirit guides and learning more about spirit guides. Just as long, Elma, as you learn to practice and always pray to God, ask for protection, you should be okay. So when people have that tied down experience, where you're paralyzed, I've had it happen to me, and so I was curious about it one day, and this is a long time ago, and I did reading on it. And I know there's a lot of scientific theories out there that'll say, "Oh, it's your brain between when you wake up and when you sleep." It's not. What usually happens, and when something like that happens, it has to do with something going on with somebody's spirituality. It's usually a spiritual war going on. And a lot of times, people you find when you talk to people, I'm like, "Hey, have you been praying? Are you close to God?" Many times they're not, and that's how you know that that's what's going on. It's just these things like to cause fear. They like to drain you of energy, and then by paralyzing you, that's the perfect thing for them to take all that energy. But it's also good. I mean, it's also good for them to try to push you away from God as well. The more I got, and it happened to me once, but the more I got closer to God, I went back to God and got closer back with God. I didn't have no problems with that again. You're welcome, Elma. Hi, Marianne. I don't think that aliens are our creator, Jen. That's just my opinion. Aliens, when God created the earth, if you believe all that stuff, when God created the earth and everything in the Great Flood, it killed all of those giants, the Nephilims. Some of those Nephilims ended up being aliens, and these gray aliens or these other aliens that are out there, they abduct people and they need that DNA to keep. I don't give them power. I see them a lot and I just ignore them. I pray against it many times, just because of my own personal experiences with UFOs and that crap. Like, I mean, I just don't want to deal with it. Again, UFOs, aliens, they've never done anything good for us. You never hear a good story about them. The only thing you hear about them is abducting people or abducting cows and stuff like that. So I would say, in my opinion, I don't think that they're a creator. I think that's somebody's made up story or theory. In my opinion, I believe in God. I think He created us. So I'm not sure what you mean. Can I see which spirit is an animal or insect? Everybody has different theories on aliens. I just trust my readings and what it says, and I'm just gonna go with it. I knew a girl one time. She kept getting all fascinated with aliens, and she kept bugging me about stuff. And I was just being nice, listening to her for a while. But I knew something. If she, the more, and I explained that to her. I go, you need to be careful. The more you put your feet in, you give it food, the more things are gonna, because these aliens were messing with her. Well, it turned out later on, she started getting poltergeists in her house, and she wasn't the same. She just kind of got weird after that. I don't know what exactly happened, but it's all started from her friend that was talking to her. Like, she would talk to her friend about it. Well, a friend in California was talking a lot about it, and then all of a sudden, and then she started getting fascinated with it. And then as soon as she started getting fascinated with it, and then she started seeing more aliens, UFOs, and weird stuff going on with her. Um, So when we give demons power, we feed them, they're going to be around us all the time. That's like if you want to know everything about what they do and you get really fixated on it and you can't let it go, they're going to be around you. They're going to mess with you. The same with the aliens. They just know. I just choose not to give them that food. Not from God. What's happening? So Lena is asking, is there a purgatory in heaven and hell? Okay. I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe. Again, I always try to throw that out there as much as I can. Believe what you guys want to believe. I believe what I want to believe, but I can tell you just from my readings what I know, and what my own partner of spiritual enlightenment in New York City. So I got certified there, and part of that is there's a talking about heaven and hell. Okay, So in the book, it says there's no such thing as hell, but there's, if you think about it, there's earth, there's three planes above earth, and there's three lower planes. As Christians and other religions, we're always taught that hell, there's heaven and hell. But the lower planes, I guess you would probably, you may consider that maybe like a hell, like a purgatory. And maybe the lowest one might be like a hell. Um, the lowest one is with, for the evil people, the narcissists, the sociopaths, the evil people that intentionally like to go out and hurt people, the serial killers, those kind of people, the people that don't like God, that swear at God and have nothing to do with God. There's different planes for them down there, and there's three planes. I think the highest one, as I was told, is heaven, and then there's two lower ones. Then there's earth. Oh, everybody's talking on here really quick, so I don't know if I'll be getting to everybody's questions. I think someone told me that hell was man-made, written in the Bible. In the Bible, I think, but I don't know for sure. I think I've read that too, um, and that's why people believe that there's a hell. But there is a place where demons do go, and plenty of the demons are on our earth. They're in the sky. They're called the Watchers, and some of the Watchers are the UFO. Tracy's asking, does narcissism run in the family? Absolutely. Even the Bible talks about family curses. I think there's prayers that you can say to break family curses. Some family curses could be just because there's a lot of molestation in a family. Alcoholism is one, narcissism is one, all that stuff. I mean, it's a family curse, and can go through generations. Now, if you have a narcissist parent, if you're a little girl and you have a narcissist parent, you're raised with that mom. Naturally, subconsciously, you're going to be looking for a narcissist boyfriend. I don't know why. Maybe you're fulfilling that need, but that's why you always see those girls always going to find the bad boys in life. Um, you know, I read that boys that are raised by narcissistic parents will usually become narcissistic. So it's just crazy. But a lot of times, what causes a narcissist person to be narcissistic is something bad happened to that kid when they were younger, some kind of trauma, bad abuse, could be neglect or sexual abuse, and that kid's guard was put down. When you're a little kid, you're crying and stuff. You're confused. You're probably going through a lot because you don't know what's going on. You're probably blaming yourself. So you're just open. You don't know, but you could be open. And then that's when they say that little demon goes through them at one point, and that demon helps that person cope to keep moving on in life. What I mean by that is um, they have a lot of power because they like to control people. So they always, and they know there's something wrong with them, but they don't want it. And so they're always trying to hide it. They're always trying, hide whatever that is within them. And anybody that's been around a narcissist, when they're going through a rage, you'll see their eyes get red. Some people will say you can see a demon like they're mask slipping. That's the Jezebel demon. And if you confront one of those demons, they will rage. They will fight. You can pray the demon away, but those demons don't go away by prayers. You have to actually get somebody to exorcise them out of somebody. And the ones who are raised by a narcissist parent, they probably need therapy to learn how to cope like a normal person because they were so used to coping a certain way. If that makes sense. They think that's normal, but it's not. And I tell people this too. People will say, "Well, my kid has a narcissist dad, and they share, between my house and their house." I'll say, "Well, here's your thing that you can do as a parent," because the parents will say, "I'm afraid my kid's gonna be a narcissist like their dad or their mom." And then I'll say, well, "Here's what you got to do: start bringing your kids down to humane societies, homeless shelters. Just teach that kid empathy, okay, because that dad ain't gonna be raising that kid okay. The kid's gonna be learning what he knows." Yeah, if you mess around with anything you call to the devil stuff, you're just asking for problems. You can be opening up things you don't know what you're opening up. I think a lot of teenage kids, younger people, see stuff on TV and they think it's cool to try it. If they don't know what they're doing, it causes problems. Yeah, I'm a Catholic too, Margaret. I believe, but I do believe that there's a purgatory. I'm skeptical if there's a hell. If there's a hell, it's probably at the very bottom of that realm. But I know there's a heaven. But I don't tell anybody what to believe. If you believe what you need to believe, I'm not here to tell anybody what not to believe. Is staying close to everything self-protective, or is it self-denial? Maybe you're protecting yourself, Marianne. There's nothing wrong with being open to people you trust. You don't want to be closed off for everything, because you'll be ruining a lot of experiences in your life, and that's sad. No, Marjorie. If you ever around a narcissist and you see their eyes go red, that's how you're gonna know. And if you watch them close enough, some people do see a demon in them. Yeah, Margaret, I don't know what's going on. It's always been this internet. Later on, it will start smoothing out. Um, Diana is asking, what are my thoughts on spirit boxes? They have apps you can download. Honestly, Diana, I know you see stuff on TV and people think that talking to those earthbound spirits is kind of neat and it's cool. Um, for me, my spirit guide warned me many times never to communicate with them unless I'm crossing them over into the light. Because I'll tell you a story. When I was starting to take this course about spiritual development, there was we call it a psychic circle, and we all sat around in circles and we were reading for people, and it was in the dark. Well, I looked up and there was this really cute little girl, with like really big eyes, and just cutest little girl you'd ever see, in a little dress, and she looks sad and she looks up at me, and so I tell my teacher, I said, "There's a little girl here, and she's scared and lost." And my teacher said she's not allowed here. So she goes, I'm going to send her in the light. So she goes, she's gone. Well, the girl next to me, she sighed and she goes, that was for me. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, that girl followed me from the airport. She's been with me for years ever since. And well, my teacher told me that, that even though that girl spirit, it could have been a real girl spirit, but it could also have been a demon pretending to be that girl. So we have to be really careful on what we are doing. Spirit boxes, these things, if you're not, I mean, you got to be careful. I mean, I just did a reading for a girl. I can't say her name, a month or two ago, and I looked at her and I said, "There's a guy that follows you in a white shirt." And she goes, "What?" And the reading said that she went to a haunted place, and she swears she didn't go to a haunted place. And I said, "Well, it said you did." And the spirit, it hangs out outside the store. It doesn't want to come in here because if it comes in, it knows I'm going to call it out. Well, she came back to me and she messaged me and she goes, Paul, she goes, I was over at that old haunted prison in Deer Lodge that week before, um, and she showed me a picture of those inmates. They had white shirts, and I go, well, there you go. And I told her that reading he liked to follow her because it reminded him of his main lady, like his girlfriend. Um, but one time, I think she had a vision, or she woke up and she saw him screaming at her, so she knew something was wrong. So I think she called upon her mom, and her mom was her mom's spirit, and her friend came and smudged the house, and then it was gone. But yeah, you gotta be careful. You can be bringing spiritual attachments, spiritual things will follow you. Demonic stuff. I don't mess with that stuff, honestly. You're welcome, Margaret. You're welcome, Dana. Just kind of, it just if you look at spirit boxes, it's kind of like playing with the Ouija board, except you're hearing voices. It's basically the same. You just don't know what you're playing with, and you could be opening portals too. Hi, M. M is saying, can any human put curses, or can any human really put a cures on human cures? A curse or curse? I wonder if she meant curse, or he meant curse. Humans can put curses on people, but when they put curses on people, it has to do with they're dealing with the spiritual stuff. They're dealing with demons and earthbound spirits to do their bidding. That's what that's about. They don't have real magic. There's no real magic that they do. They manipulate, or they deal with dark things to make them do things for people, and that was what a curse is. Yes, put the armor of God on you and protect yourself in the light, and always ask God to protect you. Vicky's asking, how can I tell my son that his wife is pure evil? However, it's like that word. Vicky, that's the thing I can't tell you because that's something you're gonna have to deal with your own. When you're dealing with an art like my this is something I had to learn the hard way. My dad is a pastor. His wife, she's always telling everybody she's giving all this money to the charities, to the poor people. But every time I've ever been down to Arizona on the weekends, they never go to church. So it was all like a big front. Um, but she would always want to make sure that she always let me know how much money they had and all this stuff. And I knew something was going on with her. I've said this many times where I would talk to her on the phone and I kept seeing a lizard face. So I knew, but I ignored it. I gave her it's that, well, it's nothing, no big deal. Well, I learned the hard way. So so she got me and my dad fighting against each other. But with the time, what I told him, I go, you're what? He got me mad and he said something to me. He goes, well, you're evil because you're doing readings and you're crazy also because that's what only crazy people do. And I looked at him and I said, well, if I'm evil and I'm crazy, then you're the one that married the narcissist. And I go, you're the one that's been poisoned by her, and you're the one that does her bidding. And the funny thing is, I go, you call yourself a pastor, but when you're going to be judged by God, God's going to ask you why you kept doing what she told you to do. I go, I don't. It doesn't hurt me that you tell me that, but I just want to let you know, yeah, your wife's a big narcissist. I'm talking about textbook narcissist, evil. And that was the end of that conversation. And I divorced myself from that entire family since because it's just like being in a big old cult. I couldn't deal with it. So you have to with your daughter-in-law, you're gonna have to be careful in how you word it because you don't want to separate a divide between you and your son because she will keep you and your son separate for your whole life. So sometimes we just have to try to bite our tongue and just go with it. I don't know. It's really hard to say. You don't want to lose your son over a narcissist because she will do that. They love to do that. Tracy's saying, how about haunted houses for Halloween? Do you recommend them? I don't think they're that bad. I mean, just smudge it before or something, or smudge yourself before or after. You're fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with haunted houses. So, Mary Ann, if you're drawn to look at something, that's what usually happens to me. When I'm drawn to look over at something and nothing's there, but I'm drawn to it, that could mean that there's a spirit standing there. You may have abilities and you don't even know it. I'm sorry, Vicky, that's hard. I can't imagine. Narcissists, you might want to go online and check on YouTube and type in narcissist daughter-in-laws and see if there's something on there that one of those videos can help you with that. Maybe but narcissists are just evil people. They've got evil in them. Halloween is a pagan holiday, but I don't know. I've never had anything bad happen to me during Halloween. It's more for kids. It's just I don't know. I don't think anything bad about it. I mean, some people do if their own belief system, but as long as we're just protecting ourselves during that time, we're gonna be okay. Just pray for protection and smudge yourself. Whatever you gotta do for protection. But and your kids, they should be fine. I mean, we don't, even though it's a pagan holiday, we don't worship the pagan gods, and stuff like that. Maybe some pagan religions do, but I think that's because some people would assume that, but that's, they don't know how, our culture in America. Alma's asking, do I believe the elites practicing satanic rituals and sacrificing children? Yes, I do. Unfortunately, that does happen. Um, when I was a little boy, I was almost kidnapped in Great Falls, Montana. And I always tell that story, but I believe that if once they would this couple would have taken me, I believe that they would have sold me to perverts, um, or something like evil like that, and I would never met my mom. And if I were to survive, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on the streets, being a drug addict with probably dying of AIDS, or I probably would have committed suicide if I wasn't murdered by then. So I've always been thankful to God to help that saved me from that. But these there are people that will take little kids and they will sacrifice them. They will little babies, little kids, just because of evil. and understand that when they're doing this, that the demon or the darkness does grant them power. It grants them, what they want for a certain amount of time, but then eventually they're going to have to do something again to keep it going, which is sad. It's evil. Yeah, that was the couple that pulled up that tried to kidnap me. Marjorie, it was horrible. I still think about that all the time. Marianne, if you don't want to look at something that you're being drawn to, you don't have to. It's your free will. If it causes you to cause if it's causing you to cause fear, just pray about it and protect yourself. So Dana, on Sundays when I'm doing readings, it has nothing to do with who you are or your family coming in. It has nothing to do with that. When I'm doing readings, those free readings on Sundays on my Facebook page, when I'm getting drawn to a name, that's where I'm going to. It doesn't mean that your parents or your loved ones aren't trying to get to me. It's not that. It's just what's going on at that moment. But you have to understand that there's times where I'm on that page and I get over 1,000 people wanting readings. And I'm looking to see the numbers, and there's 1,000 people on there. Tracy's asking where my kidnappers caught. No, in fact, Tracy, the story got kind of weird. As I got older, I think I was in college, and me and my mom were talking about this before she died. Um, she goes, my mom remembered those people. She goes, I remember those people. They lived a couple blocks down, and my mom kind of described to me who they were, and she brought me to that house, their trailer, when I was a kid. And I remember sitting there because I had allergies, and that cat was always by me, and my eyes would always get puffed up. But when I remember looking down the hall in that little trailer house, I would see a teenage girl and a boy. The boy was black, but the girl was the teenage boy, but they never would come out. She was white, but they never came out. They were always looked like they were scared, and they're always doing something. They would never come out. They'd go from room to room, and I remember sitting on the couch thinking that was weird, even at the age of 8 or 9. But my mom told me that after that happened, they packed up. So my mom asked them, "Where are you guys going?" And she goes, "Well, we can't say. It's just like a family emergency." So they packed up and left. And unfortunately, because of that, I know they've taken other kids, but I don't know where. I did a reading on it one time, and I think the reading told me that the husband died in Canada in a prison, and the wife is caught and she's still in prison too. But I don't know. I don't know their names. My mom didn't remember the name either. I did later on as an adult. I called the Great Falls detectives on it. They kind of laughed at me and said, "Well, you know how long that's been? That's over 30 something years ago." And I said, "Well, if you want to know where that trailer is, and if you want to know any details in case something does come up in the past, you'll have it. What I know." He goes, "Okay, I'll take it down." And I don't think he ever did. And I understand that they're busy, but stuff like that, that's important that they can find other kids in case that comes up again. Helping families, that's important. So I was kind of frustrated with all that. Lana's asking her dogs and cats angels. Angels are created differently than I mean, humans can't be angels, animals can't be angels, but I think the symbolic part we can look at it like they could be angels, but God creates all of his creatures differently for a reason. I know our pets, they save us. They love us unconditionally. They will fight for us. They'd let us know when something's going on. So yeah, I can see them wipe. Somebody would say they would be an angel, but I don't think God creates them to be that way. Thanks, Heidi. Thanks for coming. Orlando, I'm not doing readings today. Sorry. So it's hard for me to tell you who the spirit was sitting on the couch. Yeah, sometimes on Sundays I've noticed that I'll get over 1,000 people on there just wanting, watching or wanting readings. It's crazy. Why do cats see spirits when we cannot? Dogs can also see them as well. I think it's because our eyes, I mean, the way God created us, I think maybe He doesn't want us to see things like this because He wants us to have that free will of what we want to believe and what we don't want to believe. I think that could be part of it, but there's, maybe it's because He doesn't want us to be in fear of what we're seeing all the time that we can't explain. He doesn't want us to live in fear. So I don't, there could be many reasons why God doesn't, our eyes are not like our pets. But I've had my dog look in the kitchen, my older dog, when he was younger, and growl at something that wasn't there, and he wouldn't go in the kitchen with me. I knew something was in there, and I told it to go. My Now that he's older, he can't hear or see very well. But my little dog, he's super sensitive. He's got these big ears, we call them like radar ears. But if he's in the kitchen, he'll look at himself in his reflection in the oven, the door of the oven, and he'll growl at himself because he doesn't know what he's seeing. But there'll be times where I'm sleeping in the middle of the night and he barks at stuff, and but it's frustrating. But I'm glad that he's with me because he helps me. But our animals do see stuff that we don't, and I think there's, it's good to have them around just because of that. I know back in the old days, the witches, I read that witches had like to have cats around them because these cats would let the witches know when something's around them. Now, when they say witches back then, it could have been a Wiccan, a white goat, a white witch. It could have been even a regular witch. It doesn't matter. But either way, they had cats around them all the time. Yes, I love Jack Russells. They are good dogs. I got a rat terrier with it, and they're totally opposite personalities. What are my thoughts on tarot cards and oracle cards? As long as you're protected, I think I mean, I don't have anything negative about them because tarot cards do help. Um, they help. They give us hope. They answer a lot of our questions. But if you're going to a tarot card reader, make sure you pray before you do that. Protect yourself. You just and never go doing a card reading or on yourself or go in with fear. Try not to have too much fear because you're going into a tarot card reading and you have fear. Again, your energy is going out there. You don't want something around here that's going to be following you home. And then you go and blame the tarot card reader because she brings in demons. It's not her fault. What's going on? Make sure that she's praying too, or he's praying before and after their reading as well. That's how I do it. I don't trust anybody that doesn't pray before or after reading because you don't know. Even if they don't pray, pray in your head really quick for protection. But tarot cards and oracle cards are good if you, as long as you like. I don't think anything bad with them. Some people will say you got to be careful with those, but yeah, because it's a tool of divination. Tools of divination, any kind of tool of divination that you use, you got to make sure you're protecting yourself. Yeah, Tracy's got Jack Russell's too. Both my dogs are also rescue dogs. I never named them. My older one's Jake, and my other one's Prince, and I never named either one, but they kind of fit their personality. That Prince is more like a princess at times. He gets really sensitive. I brought him outside. He's still kind of a puppy. I brought him outside one time, and he stubbed his paw or something, or stepped on something that poked his paw, and oh my gosh, it was the end of the world. I checked him out, and he was fine. I thought he was bleeding the way he was crying, but he was okay. That's good that you took your dog to his owner when he died because I think dogs need that closure as well. When somebody dies, the dog is always going to be probably looking to see what happened to their owner, and they're probably going to wonder why and what happened. I think it's really important that when a loved one dies, it's okay to bring your dog to say goodbye or your cat to say goodbye because they know something. They feel like they're being abandoned by somebody they loved. I can't imagine the emptiness. Even if you have two dogs and one dog dies, like if my older dog dies, I'm going to let my other dog kind of be around when he dies if I have to put him down. just so that he knows that it's okay to go, and hopefully he gets a little bit closer and understands it too. Yes, humans can practice. It's not voodoo. It's another word that sounds like voodoo, but and witchcraft, and people can put curses on people. And like I said, it's just they use manipulate spirits and evil spirits to do their evil work, and that's what they don't have special powers. It's all deceiving to make it look like they have powers, but they don't. It's just they're just manipulating spirits, evil earthbound spirits, to do what they want and to bother people. Kathleen, if your daughter is going to a cemetery and she's drawn to a grave of an old soldier, make sure that she's protecting herself. She doesn't want to carry that stuff home with her. You carry an earthbound, if an earthbound spirit's attached to you or follows you around, you may be picking up on their death state. Like if that person died of cancer, that person had all these ailments to them, and the longer that spirit is stuck in that house with you living in that house, somebody in that house is gonna eventually pick up, because there's always gonna be the empath or somebody in that house is absorbing that energy, and then you're gonna have all these health ailments and have no clue why. And the doctor will be like, I don't understand how this happened. It doesn't run your family. Why do you have all these problems? It's because it's just you're absorbing that that energy from that spirit. Sometimes when people's ears rings, Dana, is because I've heard that spirits are trying to communicate to you. I've had it happen to me plenty of times, and it's usually my right ear. And when I do a quick reading on it, then I figure out what's going on, what they want. It's usually somebody for me that's trying to want me to cross them over. They're just trying to yell at me, I think. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tracy. So when I'm saying do a reading on it, what I mean, I think I know what you mean by that. Like if I'm doing a reading on myself, I just connect with my spirit guide. I think, is that what you mean, Mary Ann? Thank you, Orlando. Marjorie, I don't know what God is in heaven. I don't think a lot of anybody really knows what God is unless you've been to see him. I know people have crossed, I've heard stories of people crossing over that have seen Jesus. Um, you know, God's within us all. He's in nature. It's hard to say because I think God is something that we can't figure out in our head what he is, if that makes sense. I know he's all good, he's of light, but I don't know if he's in human form or if he's a big ball. I don't know. Yeah, Heidi, that sounds like an evil spirit that was messing with you as a little girl. Yes, Caroline, you can call on your spirit guide if you know their name, but I don't give out people's spirit guides names just for protection. So if you want to connect with your spirit guide, probably talk to a medium or a psychic. I personally do not give out spirit guides names or angels names, because once you do that, and there's a spirit wandering around, or an earthbound spirit or an evil spirit, they'll pretend to be that spirit and cause bad luck, bad health problems, weird things around you all the time, and you swear your house is haunted or something's wrong with you. Then you'll come back to me and say, Paul, you brought a demon to me because you gave me that that spirit guide's name, and that's reasons why I don't do it. You guys can go ask other spirits, other mediums or psychics or mediums. I do it just for my own safety and the reader's safety. That's why I won't do it. I'll tell you what your spirit guides, what they look like or where they're from, but that's as far as I'll go. I don't believe your spirit guide could be your an imaginary friend. I think spirit guides usually hang out in heaven. They don't really hang out, they don't really associate with us down here. Like I could see them and like they would be always around us. I could see them, but they, you know what I'm saying? They don't linger around like, like an earthbound spirit or stuff like that. Yeah, I can communicate with earthbound spirits without their knowing their names. But sometimes I'll ask who they are. Thanks for coming, Janice. No, I don't give out spirit guides names. I refuse. Just me. I don't do it. I'll be live on Sundays on Facebook. Well, thank you, Dana. Spirit guides don't have spiritual, supernatural powers. They're just messengers. That's all they are. They help us to give us messages. They can help us keep us on the right track. Are orbs all spirits around us? Orbs are just part of the spirit. When people see orbs flying around and doing weird things like that, that's part of the energy. I mean, there's a spirit there, but that's part of the energy that's connected to that spirit. We don't, when we die, we're not orbs. We don't fly around like that in little specks like that. It's just part of what the spirit is, part of the energy. But spirits are always around us. Some people have more than one guardian angel. I don't know why that is. Maybe they need another one on this earth for a reason. I don't know. But I've heard people have two. Most people have one. No, your guardian angel has a different duty than your spirit guide. Your spirit guides are the ones that are the nudgers. There's the ones that try to remind you to do good and to stay on the right track. Angels are the protectors. There's the ones that protect you. That's mainly what their goal is. But guardian angels won't protect you unless you're around, unless you start being having a relationship with God. If you're away from God and you don't have that relationship with God and you're expecting your angel to help you, I guarantee you, a lot of times your angel might not be there. You have to always have to have that relationship with God. Hi, Denise. Yes, she'll recognize your mom in heaven. She'll come to you. She'll look young, really young. Dana, sometimes when you're seeing those orbs, it could be family members, it could be angels, somebody protecting her. If just it's hard to say. I'm not there because that's hard for me because I don't have a reading on her. Um, maybe she's leaving her body for a little bit and she could be roaming around. When she's sleeping. It's hard to say. So sometimes when people have cancer or right before they die in hospice, they start seeing things. They'll look at the wall. Maybe they're seeing a loved one. Maybe they're seeing an angel. If that's what you mean, Rolanda. That's what I'm assuming. But yeah, they do see stuff before they die. They are really experiencing things. It's not, they're not hallucinating. So if they're seeing something there or talking to something there, they really are. If your dad had tears down his face, Dana, it could have been both. Maybe he didn't want to go, or maybe he was just so happy that he was able to see his parents, or somebody on the other side that was just so happy. It's hard to say. Lena's asking if I see spirits, how can I tell if they're good or bad? um, if I'm never sure, I always still I always trust with my spirit guide, and my spirit guide's never wrong. But it's growing up with this gift. I can always feel what is good and what is evil. It's the energy that I'm feeling. So I trust that as well. But I always still trust my spirit guide, and it helps me out. Do our loved ones eat us at our death? I don't know what that means. Eat us at our death. I think you meant meet us at our death. Yes. Yes, we'll meet all of the loved ones on the other side for sure. Yes, I get spirits touching me all the time, Tracy. I've been poked by spirits. I've been pulled by spirits. I've had touched like a lot of times with spirits, and nobody's there. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go. My hour is up. But if you're new here, here's some information on Facebook. If you want to, I do free readings on Sundays. Just like the page there, and you'll find me. If you're on here, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. That way you can be notified when I come back online. But I'll see you guys this Sunday. I'll be live again doing live free readings on Facebook. Thanks, you guys, for sharing. And I mean, thanks for coming on tonight, and I appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. You guys have a good night.